All right, welcome back to Impact 2022. We are at April week 3. This is the Go Home show for Rebellion, and I'm just going to get into it because this is probably going to be a long one. Like I said, not only is this the Go Home show for the next pay-per-view, but there is a lot of news. Um, Pretty much every independent promotion had to have their big event last weekend. And a lot of them had some repercussions, a lot of title changes. So we'll just get into it because, like I said, it's probably gonna be a long one. Let's go. Numbers: BTI zero point zero 0.01 as usual. Impact 0.26, which is up from a 0.24 from last week. Attendance 360, which is the same. And then overall rating 43, which is up from a 37 last week, which is our best impact so far. So we are going upwards. Slight tick up in ratings, um, tick up in quality, and not a drop in attendance, which I will take, considering we keep running going coming in last in those regional battles, so we should be dropping, but we're not, so I will take it. Impact news. First off, Madman Fulton has returned from injury. Um he was available for non-wrestling roles, but I just decided not to use him. I will probably bring him back somewhat soon, but we'll see. Um, we extended our contract for Robert Evans. We did it for as a handshake deal, and we did it as a manager only. Previously, he was a road agent, but the few times I used him as a road agent, we were getting uh, strikes against us, drops in quality, kind of like how we are with before the impact when I use Eric Stevens and Nikki Rocks as road agents. So I have plans. I have plans to bring him back as an on-screen character, so stay tuned for that. Something I put in here, I don't know how this is gonna work out, but it got to us that New Japan has made a contract offer to Doc Gallows. It didn't really, I didn't see where that kind of like a way to look at that contract offer to counter it or do anything about it. So, hopefully if he signs, it's as a non-exclusive, so we can still use him. But yeah. So yeah. Crazy Steve has 1 month remaining on his contract. I put this in here for now, kind of as a reminder. I probably will renew him, renew it, but I don't really have any major plans for him, so we could let him go. Um, but I think he also just moved to the southeast area where we are, so it would kind of be a dick move to cut him loose after he just moved here. So we'll find a spot for him probably, and but kind of on the opposite end of last week, Brian Myers contract was coming up in a month, and I renewed that right away. But for Crazy Steve, we're not. At least not right now. Some random news. The Inspiration tagged with AEW's Chris Statlander against Diamante, Ivelisse, and Kiara Dillon in the main event of a women's independent event in Sacramento. A show where Savannah Evans was also on the card. Thought that was kind of worth mentioning. We have our Knockouts tag team champions working other shows. And like I said, there are a lot of shows that happen this week, so I'll probably go over a number of them. Um, Eric Young ranted on social media about out of shape wrestlers, which got a response from the WWE champion Bray Wyatt. So at least that's one way to keep your name in the news. And then Jake something has changed his body type from average to toned, which if you follow him in real life, you can tell that he's quite toned already. But yeah, I'm taking this as a good sign that the his program with W. Morrissey is paying off. Like I said last week, it became one of our hot angles or hot storylines. So, yeah, that's helping us out. WWE news. Braun Strowman defeated Roman Reigns on the episode of SmackDown to win the Universal Championship. Yeah. I guess with talk in real life that Braun Strowman could be coming back. This could be a possibility, but I just thought it was funny that it happened on an episode of SmackDown, especially considering we just got off of WrestleMania. It could have happened there, but it didn't. It just happened on SmackDown. And then Akira Tozawa and Commander Aziz have left WWE. Um, again, this was kind of like a silent leaving. It didn't really make the news for either of these. I would kind of be interested in bringing Akira Tozawa in, but um, I wouldn't really have a place for him right now, so we'll kind of keep that on the back burner, keep that as a just in case. And then Carmelo and Corey Graves have split up, so um, unfortunately for them, don't really have anything to say about that. I don't really like either of them, so whatever. NXT Takeover 40 results. I decided to mention this for a number of reasons. Um, kind of skip ahead to near the main event. Ikemen Jiro defeated Roderick Strong for the NXT Cruiserweight title, and Braun Breaker defeated LA Knight for the NXT North American title. And also a reminder that Braun Breaker is also the NXT Tag Team Champion. I can't remember who his tag team partner is. I'm looking on and I can't really remember. But yeah. So Braun Breaker, double NXT champion. Reminder Samoa Joe is the NXT champion. I think he's out injured right now. So no NXT title match. But if you look, we have Robert Stone and Fire and Ice, which I that might be a game made up team, but defeated Trick Williams, Andre Chase, and Scott D'Amore. So Scott D'Amore has wrestled for NXT, not only on screen but as on pay per view or NXT Takeover, whatever you want to call um, premium live events. I guess that's what we're supposed to call them now. But yeah, I don't really know what to do with Scott D'Amore. I part of me wants to just let him go and consider this a conflict of interest. He does have technically he has like a handshake deal, so he's not uh you know not opposed to working with them, I guess. But considering it's kind of a direct competitor, yeah. So that's something we might have to stay tuned for. And something I will probably have to decide on soon. Um, PWG AllStar Weekend also took place. Let's go down the card real quick. Point out some of our talent. Black Taurus defeated Dylan Kyle Cox. Trey Miguel defeated JD Drake. Neither of our talent. I guess Samoa Joe was. He had an interview, but not a promo because again Samoa Joe is also PWG talent. Eva Marie defeated Demonic Flamita in a ladder match. Trust me, it'll get goofier as we go along. Ray Horus and Jesus Rodriguez, or Jesus Rodriguez, defeated Jonathan Gresham and Aries in a cage match. Um, Frankie Monet, aka Ty Valkyrie, defeated Brody King. Orange Cassidy and Athena defeated Jesse Goddard and Evil Uno. And then the Tag Team Masters defeated the Foundation for the vacant PWG World Tag Team titles. So, I have that translated down here. Keith Lee and Carlito defeated Super Dragon and Ryback for the tag team titles that were vacated in February when Malachi Black signed his exclusive contract to AEW. So some changes happening there. They finally have tag team champions. They're Keith Lee and Carlito. Uh, Super Dragon Ryback is the one that gets me. I don't know how that would work in real life. And then AEW Gauntlet for the Gold also took place. I could have, I think like 10 different shows took place either Saturday or Sunday, and these were just the notable ones I kind of wanted to point out. But what I really wanted to point out is Matt Cardona finally lost at least a title. He was defeated by Brian Carson in a ladder match for the AIW Intense title. So Cardona lost the title to the Walmart Bret Hart of AIW, and also no gauntlet for the gold match that happened here. So they the game did not know that gauntlet for the gold was an actual match or like a battle royal. We'll get to some of the other shows where lots of tournament results culminated this weekend, but I think they were supposed to be. Well, we'll get into it later. But Matt Cardona, still AIW Absolute Champion, just not their Intense Champion. And Swoggle and the Duke defeated Tommy Rich and Lewis Linden. Other United States wrestling news: AEW, Dante Martin extended his handshake deal, and then Trent suffered a strained trapezius on Dynamite. A few weeks to heal, not expected to miss any time. NWA, Marty Bell extended her handshake deal. Japan wrestling news. Lots of Japan news. New Japan, Taiji Ishimori extended his exclusive written deal, and I put this in here too. They've apparently floated more contract offers. I mentioned Doc Gallows was one of them. This was just like a general news story where it was like New Japan looking for new talent, sent out contract offers, and got that after we got notified that Doc Gallows got one. All Japan, Joe Doring won the championship carnival tournament, defeating Yuma Aoyagi. Sorry, I'm kind of distracted by my cats as well. In the final round, like I mentioned, this was culmination. Championship carnival tournament is a like the G1, where it's like a round robin multi night tournament, but this was like a one night tournament booked in game, won by our Joe Doring. Also want to put it out there. We just got the news today, probably about an hour or so ago, as of recording this, that Doring in real life is taking time off. Apparently, I guess traces of his brain cancer have come back, so he's taking time off to take care of that. Want to wish him well. Hope he kicks cancer's ass again. He's done it before. I know cancer's not something to take lightly, but if anyone can kick cancer's ass, it's Joe Doring. He's done it before, like I said. So of course it's gonna be a fight, but um, we do in game. I do kind of want to mention we do have plans somewhat for Joe Doring, but Um, we're kind of playing off the fact that he's juggling Impact and All Japan. Is very hard to book. So we're kind of using that to our advantage in storyline, but also he is like by far one of our most expensive talents. I don't know why, but he was set at like 800. Well, it's probably because of his All Japan bookings, but he was set at like $800 per show where I think almost all my talent is on like a per show basis. He was set at 800, and I think like the next highest was like 500. So we kind of use him sparingly because uh, you know, he's expensive, but also because he is hard to um nail down. But yeah, oh, I gotta take a break. My cat has something she shouldn't have. 0-1 news. Daisuke Sekimoto defeated Yuji Hino at Spring Party 2022 to win the vacant United National Heavyweight Championship, which was vacated a week prior by the retiring Shinjiro Otani. I'm sure this will kind of be repeating. Well, I know it's going to be repeating in a later slide, but also reminder that um, Kojima is retiring right after he won the Never Openweight title, so this will probably show up later on in a week, if not more. Big Japan, Ryuji Ito won the Ikitosen tournament, defeating the Bodyguard in the finals. Like I said, I believe this is a multi-day tournament, like the Championship Carnival. I'm probably wrong though, because I actually looked up the Championship Carnival, but not the Ikitosen. But it was booked in one night, a one-night tournament. Ryuji Ito won, and Big Japan have joined the Cyber Agent Alliance along with Noah, DDT, and Tokyo Joshi Pro. So hopefully that works out for them. Mexico wrestling news. Really, this is all based out of one show. The IWRG Guerra del Golfo. It took 4 years of Spanish in high school. You'd think I'd be decent at it. 2022. El Hijo del Pirata Morgan defeated Supernova to win the vacant Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, which has been vacant since September of last year. Bandito defeated Capo del Norte to win the vacant WWS World Welterweight Championship, which was vacated last week by the retiring El Hijo del Diablo, which, like I said, has been a trend lately with champions retiring. And then Toxin Boy defeated El Hijo del Alebrije to win the Junior de it's probably Junior de Juniors championship. Um Retirements. We were actually doing pretty good. There weren't any retirements. No one got slammed like the last day of the week. Before putting this together, and a big one in Ron Killings has announced his retirement, and then also Glacier and Brutal Bob Evans. Official, like I mentioned earlier, Satoshi Kojima, who is never open weight champion, is retired. Tatsumi Fujinami, Scott Norton, Masquerita Sagrada won, which I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but I wanted to make sure that's the original. I think there's like 3 in the game. So the first one is retired Gabby Tuft and Bill Watts. And then before the Impact results, we have Sam Beal defeating Crazy Steve in somewhat of an upset. Tasha Steeles, Savannah Evans, and Janai Kai form their alliance. I don't have a cool name for them yet, but basically they cut a promo talking about how they have each other's backs because no one else does. And then that leads into a challenge for the Rebellion pre-show where we are going to have Quinn McKay, Rachel Ellering, and Roxy versus Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans, and Janai Kai. We have a promo from Diener where basically he just kind of reveals that he has anger issues and has the constant urge to fight. So that's why that explains his behavior as of late, mostly dealing with Larry D and Caleb with a K and Falaba, where he's just been getting in their way. It's all because he needs to fight, and no matter how hard he fights, he just can't get it out of his system. So that's Diener's motivation. And then the main event, Ace Austin and his backup crew of Raj Singh and Shera defeated Caleb with a K, Larry D and Falaba. After that match, we go to a video where Johnny Swinger is at his casino. It's all torn up from last week, um, from Ace Austin and Singh and Shera, and he wants revenge. He he's kind of with the rest of the crew, and they're talking about cleaning things up, and Swinger's kind of like, why bother? And you kind of get the thing. the feeling that he's dejected, but really he's just firing himself up because he wants a match with Ace and his crew at the casino. Why bother cleaning up the casino when they're just gonna tear it up again? Because we want the match here and we want to beat them on our own turf, and we're gonna have that match at the Rebellion pre-show. All right, we start off Impact with the three-way that was booked last week. Rich Swann versus Willie Mack versus Chris Bay. All three of them have been somewhat down on their luck lately, but the winner ends up being Chris Bay. Chris Bay pins Rich Swann. Willie Mack fails to break the pin up in time. It's kind of debated whether he's uh, even tried, I guess. It does say he's the weak link, but we won't fault that against him. But 45 and 42 compared to 29. But yeah, Chris Bay wins. His luck seems to be turning around. Ever since, like we said, the Bullet Club has kind of been a albatross around his neck, but since he's cast that off, it's things haven't been going his way, but now they are. Yeah, Chris Bay pins Rich Swann, clean pin. Um, 41 rating. And we get after the match we get a celebration by Chris Bay. Kind of again putting over the fact that he's, finally got a win under his belt after, how many weeks or months. Say we're at 31. So it's kind of just a pet up time, honestly. But still, Chris Bay on his way to better things. We get a segment with Homicide hanging out backstage with the X Division champion Shark Boy. Um, Homicide says he's got an idea for a match. He knows at Rebellion it's gonna be Trey Miguel and Swerve Strickland for a future shot at the X Division title. So how about he teams them up, and how about he teams them up against two other opponents for Rebellion, Steve Macklin and Shark Boy, who are going to fight at Rebellion for the X Division champion. But Shark Boy puts his foot down. Shark Boy says that's not gonna work for me, brother. Without saying anything, because he's Shark Boy, and Homicide's like, oh, I get it. You don't want a team with Steve Macklin. I get it. He's done you dirty last couple weeks. He threw your belt in the ocean and then he hits you with it. And then last week he messes with your match and sticks it, gets his way, and he's got now he faces you for the X Division title. And he's like, okay, you don't have to go in the match then, but you know. I guess it's gonna be a situation like Brian Myers last week. If he can't get himself a partner, he's gonna have to go against the two of them alone. So sucks to be him, I guess. So they kind of pat themselves on the back, and we have a tag match booked. Trey, well, segment ring 34 for this, and then we get a video or announcers putting over that we were getting the resulting match. Trey Miguel and Strickland teaming to take on Steve Macklin and a mystery partner. But if he can't find one, then it's going to be a handicap match. Segment ring of 21. And then we also, while we are putting, like, the announcers are putting over matches, we do a quick mention that it will be Johnny Swinger, Zicky Dyson, Hernandez taking on Ace Austin, Shera, and Raj Singh in a six-man tag team match, but it's going to be a brawl at Swingers Palace. So, and it will be on the pre-show of Rebellion. Segment rating of 11, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, this was just like a 1 minute mention, just to mention from that something on before the impact is happening. And then we go backstage where we see Brian Myers walking around. He's pacing. He's nervous. He knows, and he's kind of mumbling to himself. He's like, "Yeah, I know those guys didn't leave me on purpose. I'm their trainer. They look up to me. I know they wouldn't have run away from me, and I know, uh, you know, I'm gonna find out who kidnapped my guys, and we get like something behind him knocks over, and he goes to investigate, and there's nobody there, but kind of get the vibe that someone's watching him. Segment rating of 34. And then we also go elsewhere backstage where the world champion, Impact World Champion Josh Alexander, is getting ready for another mystery partner tag team match later on tonight, um, against Jonathan Gresham and his choice of a partner. But we find out that Alexander's choice for his partner is Speedball Mike Bailey, who we haven't seen a whole lot of lately, but we know they're buds. Someone Alexander can trust, and someone he can trust to go with Gresham and whoever he so desires to be his partner. Segment rating of 29. We get another match made from last week. We get Ty Valkyrie and Rosemary versus Deonna Purrazzo and Tennille Dashwood. The relationship between Deonna and Tennille is tenuous at best. All predicated on the fact that Deonna is out of options to take out Taya and Rosemary, and Tennille wants to prove herself worthy of a future title shot, but it's not happening tonight because due to miscommunication, Taya ends up pinning Tennille and winning the match. Segment rating of 41. And then later on, after a commercial break, likely we see, or later on, maybe after the match in the ring, Deonna Purrazzo and Tennille Dashwood are arguing, blaming each other over the previous match. Deonna shoves Tennille, basically confirming that she is not worthy of a future tag title shot, and she still has to worry about defending two different titles against Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary at Rebellion. A reminder, in that three-way, she has two different belts on the line. We'll go over that at the end with the Rebellion card rundown. Segment rating of 30 for their argument. And then Jake something comes out to the ring with a microphone, and he talks about, after, the past couple weeks, I think he had a feeling that Morrissey was just taking things for granted and he just didn't get it, and something is, working hard to chase his goals, and Morrissey's just had everything handed to him by his size, but something knows, Morrissey's deal now, especially after last week where he beat up his friend Jonah in the back, left him laying, and their previous match, which ended in a double DQ or double count out because Morrissey refused to take things back to the ring. And so something's laying out the challenge for Rebellion, and he wants to make sure that's not a problem because he is suggesting that their match at Rebellion is going to be Falls Count Anywhere. And Morrissey comes out with a microphone of his own, and he's kind of clapping. He's like, "Oh, you finally get it, you finally get, where I'm coming from, that, do what you got to do to, watch your own back and make sure you got to look out for number one, which is yourself," and, all those cliches. And, uh, but Morrissey comes out to accept the challenge. So we have Jake something versus Morrissey at Rebellion in a Falls Count Anywhere match. So there's no excuse. There's going to be a winner, unlike last time. Segment rating of 34. And then we get Steve Macklin coming out for his tag team match. And he's got a microphone. He's like, "Oh, I bet you guys thought, I bet everyone thought, I know Homicide and Shark Boy, they thought, I didn't have any friends in the back. So You guys thought I was gonna get double teamed tonight. You thought I couldn't find a partner. Well, it doesn't matter if you don't have friends. I don't need friends in Impact. I found a monster. He doesn't have to have my back. I just have to stand behind him and make sure he plows through everybody. So he brings out Black Taurus along with Matthew Waywalt. So we get the tag match. Steve Macklin's partner for the night is Black Taurus. Segment rating of 18. And then in that match, Steve Macklin actually gets the pin with Black Taurus as his partner. Like Macklin kind of alluded to, Black Taurus kind of does a lot of the work while he stands by. And Trey beats on Trey Miguel and Shane Strickland. Um, try as they might, they're not quite on the same page. And that kind of shows itself when Trey is distracted by Matthew Raywalt at ringside and gets rolled up by Steve Macklin, who has his X Division title shot, gaining momentum to that match. So yeah, Steve Macklin squeaks one out when he thought he could have been double teamed tonight. He came in, found a monster as his partner, and got a cheap win, but a win nonetheless. Segment rating of 36. And then after the match, we go backstage. We kind of get a continuation from last week where Chelsea Green is going around backstage trying to avoid being detected by Jordan Grace. She was able to do it last week, but not so much this week, where Chelsea Green is looking one way, she goes around a corner and she runs right into Jordan Grace, who grabs her, pushes her up against the wall, and Jordan's basically like, we got our match at Rebellion for the digital media championship that she has. And she's like, I could soften you up right now. I could do what I want. I could tie you up into a pretzel and I could break you in half. But I'm not going to waste my time with you tonight because I got a main event to wrestle. And out comes her husband, the Ring of Honor World Champion Jonathan Gresham, and they walk off together. So it looks like Jordan Grace is Gresham's tag team partner for the main event tonight. Uh, and Chelsea's just kind of taken aback, glad that she did not get broken in half like Grace said she would, but, worried about what is yet to come at Rebellion as they walk off. Segment rating of 26. Not really hopeful for these segments, but I'm hoping the matches coming up soon will get better ratings. We get. I don't remember putting Scott D'Amore as the road agent, so ignore that. Um, but yeah, Brian Myers comes out to the ring and kind of he takes the mic and he's kind of ranting and raving the same points was muttering to himself earlier tonight, and he's like, you know, I bet you guys thought like you know, those guys run, my guys, VSK, CPA, Avery Good, you know, you all thought they probably ran away from me, but I looked at, I watched the Impact old episodes. I know they got kidnapped, and I know they wouldn't leave me willingly because I'm their trainer, I'm their captain. They look up to me, but I want whoever's behind this. I'm gonna be at Rebellion. I want whoever's behind this to show themselves at Rebellion, and bring my guys back because I want my boys back. And Dalton Castle comes out. He's like, "Did somebody say boys?" And he has a microphone of his own, and he's like, "Well, you know what? I don't know if you noticed, but you know, well, first of all, I don't have your boys. let's just say that right now. I don't have your boys, but I hope you guys notice that I'm without my boys too. I didn't bring it my boys to Impact when I came here, but I'm looking for some new boys. And since I'm, the peacock of pro wrestling, and I'm feeling like I'm in a generous mood. Brian Myers, you look like a lost wayward soul. I'm willing to take you under my wing, and you can be one of my boys. And Brian Myers takes offense. They, have a shoving match. Brian shoves Dalton Castle by the time he's in the ring and doing his shtick, and Brian shoves him down, and Castle's like, okay, I see what you mean. Like, you don't want to be one of my boys, but we can, you know, if you have time, I know you're busy with this at Rebellion, but I got nothing else to do. So if you wanna, if you wanna get down at Rebellion, we can do this. So we have a match and a somewhat impromptu match set up for Rebellion. Dalton Castle versus Brian Myers. And will we find out who kidnapped the rest of the learning tree at Rebellion? Who knows? Segment rank of 36. Like I said, Scott Demore should not have booked this angle. We go backstage to Gia Miller, who is standing by with Eric Young. And first of all, she wants to congratulate, even though Violent by Design, has kind of run roughshod over Impact, and they're in their own struggles. Gia wants to let the world know and kind of congratulate Joe Doring over in Japan as he won the All Japan Championship Carnival tournament, like I mentioned earlier. But Eric Young is not having it. He just kind of mockingly claps. He's like, "Oh, that's good. That's good for him. But where does that leave me? Where does that leave Violence by Design? He's supposed to be here with me, fighting the sickness of wrestling that is pervading Impact. And what does he do? He goes off to Japan. He takes money that's meant for me. He goes to Japan. He's doing his thing over there. He can't call me. He can't tell me, hey, I'm doing this for us. I'm going over to Japan, spreading the cure for the sickness or whatever the bullshit that Violence by Design is based on. But he's just like, so what I'm gonna plan to do is I'm gonna come out to the ring at Rebellion, and I'm gonna challenge Joe Doring to come out and face me and settle this once and for all. And if he doesn't show, if he decides that being, a superstar in Japan is bigger than our mission, then he's gonna have some serious hell coming his way. So, and he hobbles off because he's still injured. But segment rating of 22 for that. We get our semifinal match, our last semifinal match. And it's the Wolves versus the Gospel of Violence. And oh shit. I'm reading the things. Okay. So the Wolves won the match. 18-14. Davey Richards pinned Tyler Bateman with a creeping death. Segment rating 47. We skipped down a little bit. I figured the match would be a little too long, but I wanted this to be a pay-per-view quality match and get over the fact that the Wolves have really had like a grueling path to the finals of this tournament, but it's so grueling that apparently Davey Richards sustained a broken foot. So yeah. Um, I guess it's good news that despite having a broken foot, he still had a performance of 63. But yeah, the finals are the Wolves versus the Motor City Machine Guns, but we'll see what happens with that. Um, Sigmarian 47, like I said, and then after, yeah, thanks, Rhino. I saw that. Um, but yeah, basically after the match, Gospel of Violence are pissed off and they try to put the beat down on the Wolves, being sore losers and I guess trying to get their heat back, trying to save face, after losing the match. But the Wolves opponents for the tournament, the Motor City Machine Guns come out for the save. After having such a long match, the Gospel of Violence just decide the numbers aren't, the numbers aren't against them. It's a 4-on-2. They're not gonna bother with it, so they powder out. The Motor City Machine Guns help up the Wolves, and we put over that the Wolves versus Motor City Machine Guns at Rebellion for a title shot at the Good Brothers, but again, Davey Richards' foot is broken, so that is probably going to be in jeopardy. Segment rating of 40. I think this show is cursed because, like I said, like I was hoping these would get ratings, and they are, but at the cost of Davey Richards' broken foot. And I bet MLW might be pissed at me too. Yeah, we'll see what comes from that, if anything comes from that. I don't know how this uh game works where if an injury happens on one show, will another promotion get pissed off, or is that they just take that as the risks of being an independent contractor? But yeah. Anyway, we get a promo at the end of the match. Good Brothers are back at home putting over the match. They're like, okay, congratulations, the Wolves made it. They made it to the finals. But they're gonna have to go up against the Motor City Machine Guns at Rebellion. But it doesn't really matter who wins that because whoever wins that comes to face us at Under Siege for the titles, and we can tell you we're not going to uh drop these for just anybody. Um, Whoever makes it to Under Siege um is gonna have to face us. We're fresh as daisies. We haven't need to wrestle for almost a month now. We've been sitting at home, so we're fresh and all that. Sorry, I'm very deflated about Davey Richards' broken foot. 46 for that promo. And then we get our main event, the mystery partner tag team match of the Impact World Champion Josh Alexander and his partner Speedball Mike Bailey versus the Ring of Honor World Champion Jonathan Gresham and his partner, his wife, and also the Impact Digital Media Champion Jordan Grace. Um, Basically, match starts off with Bailey and Grace. Bailey is at first kind of afraid of going full force against Grace because she's a woman, blah blah blah, but that quickly goes out the window when Grace kind of manhandles Bailey, and Bailey eventually gets his head back in the game. But by the time we finally get to Josh Alexander and Jonathan Gresham tagging in and facing off, out comes Michael Bennett and Maria Kanellis. Michael Bennett basically attacks both men. The ref throws the entire match out. No winner. Michael Bennett and Maria Kanellis have spoiled things once again. Um, Segment rating of 39. Mike Bailey seemed off his game, but he got a 42, so he's still hanging in there. But basically, once we finally got the preview of the title for title match at Rebellion, Michael Bennett and Maria Kanellis had to come out and ruin everything. That results in Gail Kim coming out. And Gail Kim comes out with the microphone. She's like, I'm sick of you two poking your nose in business where it doesn't belong. Michael Bennett, you've had your chances at, both, you've had your chance at the Ring of Honor World title. You've at least had a chance at, the Impact World Champion. And you failed, but you decided to stick your nose in business. And Maria, I've known you for a long time, and this is your MO. You stick your nose into business, any business you'll, stick your nose into. But I'm not having it tonight. Well, not tonight, but I'm putting my foot down. And at Rebellion, I want to make sure things go off without hitch. We have a title versus title match. Only one person is walking out world champion, and I don't want either of you uh, interfering or doing anything that could jeopardize that. So the two of you, it says suspended. They're not suspended. They're barred from the building at Rebellion. They are forced to, you know, they cannot be at Rebellion because if they come and if they're seen, they'll be taken by security. She doesn't want either of them interfering in what could be a great event and ruining things like they have been the last couple weeks. So she's putting the foot down. That ends the show. Segment rating of 27. And then overall, we get a 42. I want to say, if I remember, our last week's show was 43, so I think we dipped down a bit. Um, and we're not losing as much popularity, like I said, because we actually have 3 hot storylines, which is the requirement for not losing um people, I guess, or losing popularity. We have the hot storyline originally, the Wolves versus the Good Brothers, which yeah, um, previously mentioned something versus Morrissey, and also the women's title match or program at least, Diana versus Taya and Rosemary is also a hot storyline. So I was gonna say like we can keep those going, but considering like I said, Davey Richards broken foot is definitely going to screw us over, especially going into Rebellion. I definitely had the Wolves versus Motor City Machine Guns. That would be a great match in real life. Imagine the ratings it would get in here and give us for you know Rebellion. But yeah. Kind of ending this on a down note. I could I'm uh I could just go and see like how long Davey Richards is going to be out for because it's a broken foot. He's going to be out. But I guess that I'm just gonna end it here. We'll find out. I'll figure out what's going to happen. For Rebellion. Oh, well, we can find out. What's going to Rebellion with the final card. Our handy dandy, very professional looking card, match card. Rebellion this Saturday. Title unification match. Impact World Champion Josh Alexander versus Ring of Honor World Champion Jonathan Gresham. There must be a winner. One man walking out, world champion. The Champ Champ Challenge match. Deonna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie versus Rosemary. If Rosemary pins Deonna, she becomes the knockout champion. But if Taya pins Deonna, she becomes the AAA Reina de Reinas champion. So there's a possibility that, Deonna could walk out at least one title lighter. Uh, the Good Brothers Tag Tournament Finals. Winners receive the tag title shot at Under Siege. Tentatively, the Wolves, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards versus the Motor City Machine Guns and Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Yeah. I guess, yeah, I'll end it after, we go through the card, and then we'll open up next episode, the Rebellion episode, with the status of Davey Richards and his foot, and whether or not the Wolves will even be at Rebellion. um, X Division Championship match: Shark Boy defends against Steve Macklin. The Digital Media Championship match: Jordan Grace defends against Chelsea Green. Number one's contenders match to the X Division title. Winner will receive a title shot at Under Siege. Trey Miguel versus Swerve Shane Strickland. Falls Count Anywhere match: W. Morrissey versus Jake Something. Brian Myers versus Dalton Castle. A few things I put under here. Will the mystery person who kidnapped the learning tree show their face? Will Joe Doring answer Eric Young's call to appear? And will Gail Kim's newest talent acquisition follow through? We did not have any mentions of it on this episode of Impact, but like we mentioned last week, Gail Kim is in talks with bringing more talent, and if things come through, we could see them at Rebellion. And then I also put Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett have been barred from the event to prevent their interference in these matches. Of course, they will they Bennett would interfere in this match, and you know, of course, Maria would probably benefit or interfere on the benefit of Chelsea Green in the Digital Media Championship match. So, Gail Kim decreed by Gail Kim that she put her foot down and said, "We are banning them from Rebellion, banning them from the building. If they show up, then they will be escorted by security." And then we have our pre-show YouTube matches. We have the battle at the casino, Swingers Palace. Johnny Swingers, Zicky Dyson Hernandez facing Ace Austin, Mahabali Shera, and Raj Singh. And then Roxy, Rachel Ellering, and Quinn McKay versus the newly formed unit of Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans, and Janai Kai. I'm going to go. My cat is again getting into something she should not, and yeah, we'll see what the status of the Wolves will be at Rebellion. We'll see what happens at Rebellion. When we tune in next time. Thanks for watching.